Most Pokemon keep or upgrade their abilities when evolving, but there are some cases you would actually prefer to keep the previous ability on your newly evolved Mon. We're going to look at the top examples of this and how it would help the evolved Mons competitively. I'm making it a point to require the ability to still be somewhat thematic to the user, but we'll see a few less thematic honorable mentions near the end. Tyranitar is definitely defined by its Sandstream ability, and there's no doubt it's a huge reason why it's been an OU staple since released, until recently. But it would be cool to have another option. Then you see that its first form, Larvitar, has access to the ability Guts and loses it upon evolution. Guts would be a great alternative ability for Tyranitar over the pretty much useless Unnerve. You have an amazing base 134 attack and access to Dragon Dance to gain speed while waiting for your Flame Orb to activate at the end of the turn. With new access to Knockoff, alongside its Edgequake coverage, it could be a sneaky good bring over Sandstream on offensive Tyranitars. You can also come in on Will-O-Wisp and other status while running another beneficial item. The loss of Sand Chip and special defense boost would suck, but it does allow T-Tar to shine on a bigger variety of teams, not chipping down teammates with its own sand. And you can always run this alongside a Powdon if you really need that sweet desert breeze. While Tyranitar didn't really need an improvement ability-wise, its fellow dark type Weavile does. Weavile is definitely a great offensive Mon, but it doesn't really get much help ability-wise. Pressure Stalling is a defensive Mon's game, and Pickpocket requires you to take a hit that makes contact while also not holding an item. Weavile isn't exactly known for its hit-taking ability, nor does it want to relinquish an item for this gimmick. Its pre-evolution Sneasel does get a very useful ability in Inner Focus that it unfortunately loses upon evolution. Inner Focus would be an amazing addition for Weavile as it protects it from flinching alongside of giving it an immunity to Intimidate. It would definitely be huge in doubles as a fake out counter alongside not being able to easily neuter by swapping in your Incineroar. Its crazy high speed and great attack could see it become an actual prominent threat in doubles, as its stab combo threatens a lot of restricted mons and meta staples. Taking away two popular ways of dealing with glass cannon physical attackers would see Weavile stonk soar. Inner Focus would for sure help in singles, not quite as much, but it would do heaps more for it than Pressure currently does. Those two mons were already pretty great competitively, but what about Camerupt? I'm sure everyone is thinking. A mon that hasn't seen competitive success really ever. Numel is a rare case of a mon who evolves and all three abilities change. I'm not even sure if any other Pokemon shares this feat. While Camerupt does gain access to Solid Rock, a respectable ability, it really doesn't have the bulk to take advantage of it with middling HP and defenses and okay offenses. There's an easy solution to help Camerupt out, and it is Simple. Numel gets rid of Simple upon evolution, giving up a potential viability goldmine for Camerupt. Camerupt doesn't have amazing setup options, but what it does have becomes vastly more usable by keeping Simple. Curse essentially turns into two bulk ups in one turn, while really making sure you're the slowest on the field. Howl turns into a Swords Dance that can be supportive in doubles as well, and Stockpile actually makes you really bulky on both sides in one turn. I do see some potential on Sun teams, with Growth giving you a crazy +4 to both your offenses in the Sun, and access to Flame Charge giving you a good damage option that will actually let you outspeed and set up a sweep. And don't even get me started on fishing for an Ancient Power Boost. Overall, I think Simple Camerupt would be very interesting to see, as it has a handful of cool options to plug into its sets. I could see it being a sneaky pick on offensive teams and lower tiers with this buff. It would require a lot of support, but could be worth it to say you just got 6-0'd by Camerupt. Next is Flygon. With middling stats and help from Power Creep doing its thing over generations, this fan favorite has seen its competitive success take a nosedive. It just doesn't do much particularly great to stand out. Levitate is a nice ability for it, as who doesn't love a good old ground immunity? But what it really needs is a bit more of an offensive punch. That's where we pull an ability from its first stage, Trapinch. While Arena Trap would be great, I'm not going that route as I don't really think it makes sense, but the hidden ability Sheer Force is a lot more viable. Flygon keeping Sheer Force as a hidden ability option would actually be pretty cracked, and could see Flygon adopt a Nidoking approach to running the ability. Even though Flygon has a higher attack stat, its special move pool is a lot better suited to take advantage of Sheer Force and yield more damage. Earth Power would replace Earthquake, hitting slightly harder on your Life Orb sets without taking recoil. You have Fire coverage, take your pick, all hitting harder than Fire Punch, alongside your choice of Sheer Force boosted coverage in Bug Buzz, Alluring Voice, Air Slash, and Psychic Noise, while having strong non-boosted options to run like Boom Burst and Draco Meteor. Physical sets still work, but most of your glue moves don't take advantage of Sheer Force. Earthquake, First Impression, U-Turn, Stone Edge, and most dragon attacks lack secondary effects, so a physical set can really only take advantage of some risky moves and weaker coverage. In that case, you might just prefer Levitate. I do like this as an option alongside Levitate, so you can bluff the immunity and take mons by surprise with your powerful special coverage. This will give Flygon the offensive punch it desperately needs while not relying on choice items to be viable. When it comes to support, there aren't many more reliable options than Chansey and Blissey. These thick pink blobs set rocks, spread status, tank special hits for days, and can just be unkillable in certain matchups. In singles, they check the boxes along with a great ability on top and natural cure to instantly heal status upon switch. But in doubles formats, these mons don't share the same competitive success, struggling in the less switch heavy metas. They do have access to a decent support ability in healer, but it's really situational and not the most reliable. Happiny, on the other hand, has access to the coveted ability Friend Guard. Friend Guard is notable for helping make Pokemon like Clefairy and Mousehold excel in doubles play. This ability reduces the damage your ally Pokemon take by 25%, which is a huge upgrade over Healer. Chansey doesn't have redirection, but with support options like Ally Switch, Life Dew, Thunder Wave, and Helping Hand, you'll have no shortage of great moves to aid your allies. Eviolite Chansey is slightly bulkier on the physical side than Clefairy, while having it handily beat on the special side, even with no investment. It would definitely give Clefairy competition in doubles as Eviolite Friend Guard support, but they would still have distinct traits that warrant use on different teams. Blissey, on the other hand, would be run if requiring a different held item, along with being slightly faster and having the option to run an attacking move that isn't Seismic Toss. I like these because it's still very much thematic and upgrades these mons' doubles viability while not changing a thing about their singles presence. Yanmega is a Pokemon carried by its abilities already. Speed Boost is nice, and Tinted Lens even nicer, allowing it to wall break and find some single success. But the reason why some gamers are using its pre-evolution Yanma in doubles is because of its ability Compound Eyes that it trades out for Tinted Lens upon evolution. This grants a massive accuracy buff that allows Yanma to act as support by having a fairly accurate hypnosis. I'm not sure if this would be enough to persuade Yanmega to use it over Tinted Lens in singles, but I think it would be the preferred choice in doubles, allowing it to put mons to sleep with an option that avoids the grass type's natural immunity to Spore and Powder moves. This would be the main utility of keeping this ability. You can also run a fully accurate Screech for support, alongside not missing your Air Slashes, so there are other merits. It definitely is more threatening of a sleep inducer than Yanma, being able to dish out actual damage, so I think it's worth including. In Generation 7, Gengar had its ability changed to Curse Body. Not a bad ability, it can definitely be clutch, but it's another case of a glass cannon with an ability that requires it to take hits to proc. Its pre-evolutions having Levitate and it losing it upon evolution still doesn't feel quite right. The only real benefit Gengar has from not having Levitate anymore is the ability to absorb Toxic Spikes. and most people aren't counting on it to fill that role. Gengar regaining Levitate might help stop the bleeding in its singles play success, as it's been steadily falling tiering wise. Not only do you turn a weakness into a full-blown immunity, but you also regain an immunity from entry hazards like spikes and sticky web. Gengar is a mon that can be hard to get in, so giving it another typing it can swap into and be immune to would be a massive buff. I actually made a video that covers Pokemon that had their ability changed. I'll leave it at the end if you want to check it out. Now, I didn't specify the mon had to be fully evolved to qualify. In the case of Bagon evolving into Shelgon, it's another mon that loses the great sheer force ability, this time in favor of Overcoat. I'd argue Battle Armor would have been a more fitting ability initially, but I digress. Having sheer force might actually make this mon somewhat threatening in lower tiers. It has good physical bulk with Eviolite, and 95 base attack is better than a lot of fully evolved mons. Boosted Crunch, Zen Headbutt, Rock Slide, Fire and Thunder Fang, Iron Head, even the risky Dragon Rush would be great damage options. It isn't even missing out on most of the secondary effects anyways, since they're mainly flinching moves and this mon is pretty slow. It can combine this with Dragon Dance to threaten a late game sweep in lower tiers, since its mono dragon typing does afford it some good defensive utility. This would only be an upgrade because right now it just seems like both of its abilities are a waste. Last on the main list, I have the underwhelming evolutions Leafeon and Glaceon. Sorry Flareon, you have guts and that's already a pretty good ability. I have to include these as their underwhelming abilities are definitely part of what's holding them back. When evolving from Eevee, every evolution gets their own abilities. But in this case, we are keeping Eevee's second ability, Adaptability. Adaptability increases the same type attack bonus of a Pokemon from 1.5 times to 2 times, making their stab hit extremely hard. Leafeon would replace its horrid Leaf Guard ability to gain a much stronger Leaf Blade. That's pretty much the main use you would get. Swords Dance sets would be a lot more difficult to wall, as well as just being stronger out the gate on banded sets. You also power up Trailblaze if you want to go for a sweep utilizing its speed boost effect. Maybe even a loaded dice set with Bullet Seed could work. I don't think it would lift Leafeon into OU or anything, but maybe, just maybe with this buff, it could be a threat in something like NU. Glaceon, on the other hand, would love this ability over Snowcloak or Ice Body. Doesn't really matter. It just wants something that doesn't require Hail to be active. Adaptability Ice Beams and Blizzards would be extremely cold. Coming off that 130 base special attack, this actually gives Glaceon the strongest raw Ice Beam in the game, handily outpacing Kyurem White. I could actually see this helping Glaceon competitively, in doubles at least. When paired up with a Alolan Ninetales, Glaceon could fire off extremely potent Specs Blizzards that are nearly unwallable. With the Hail defense boost and Aurora Veil, Glaceon would become pretty bulky and likely grab a few KOs before going down itself. You also have the option for single target Ice Beam and Freeze Dries, as well as Icy Wind for spread speed control, that all of a sudden hits pretty hard for a support move. Now the solid cast of honorable mentions. These mainly don't fit thematically, but would definitely either be huge competitive buffs or just cool to see, so I want to explore them a bit. First, we have a Scavalier, who when evolving from Carablast, loses the rare No Guard ability. While I don't think a Scavalier is a particularly great candidate thematically, I do think it would be a nice option to replace its current arsenal of middling abilities. No Guard is replaced by Overcoat when evolving, so it wouldn't be a huge blow to lose. No Guard does help a Scavalier hit its main stab Mega Horn without fail, which is the main draw of adding this ability. Other than that, there isn't much else to take advantage of. Always landing Toxic is definitely nice, along with slightly inaccurate coverage moves in Razor Shell and Drill Run you might consider running. It also would work against you too, guaranteeing you're hit by all incoming attacks like that hot Fire Blast. But this will just go in the honorable mentions, as perfect accuracy Mega Horn is nice to think about. Slacking with Vigoroth's Vital Spirit might be one of the most mismatched abilities thematically, but getting rid of Truant with pretty much anything would be a massive upgrade and shoot Slacking into OU at least. This mon would be carried on its stats alone. The ironic sleep immunity would just be the cherry on top, allowing it to be even better in doubles as a spore swap in. I don't think Slack King would be that broken today, as we literally have mons coming out with comparable stats with boosting abilities on top. So let's have a little fun and make this happen, Game Freak. Clefable obviously loses Friend Guard while evolving. It could make sense to keep it over Unaware thematically, but I don't think Clefable needs anything extra going for it. Giving Clefairy some time to shine is kinda cool. Similar idea for Honchkrow losing Prankster when evolving from Murkrow. It could get it, but I think it fits less thematically, as Honchkrow is now the head honcho and less of a Prankster mob member. That's kinda why it gets Moxie when evolving. It would definitely be a lot better with access to this. Priority Roost, Haze, Substitute, alongside all the support options Murkrow has, would make it nutty in singles and doubles. But like Clefairy, I think it's cool to just let Murkrow have its niche in doubles. I thought Hustle on Vespiquen might be a good idea. Combi loses it upon evolution. Not the best thematically fitting for the Queen Bee, but at least could give a decent power buff at the cost of some accuracy. Attack Order is a pretty powerful move now, while you can maybe run Aerial Ace as a move that doesn't face the accuracy debuff. The Subroost Toxic Protect Pressure Stall set is still the best bet at doing something with this mon though. Of course, we had to end with perhaps one of the most fun scenarios to think about. When evolving into Lucario, Riolu loses one of the best abilities in the game, Prankster. This is replaced by a clear downgrade in Justified, also signaling that Lucario isn't messing around now that it is all grown up. This is why I didn't include it in the main list, but what if Lucario did keep Prankster? Well, first of all, you give up an Intimidate and Flinch immunity and Inner Focus, which hurts in doubles, but you do gain some great priority status tools. You can make yourself bulkier before getting hit with moves like Calm Mind, Bulk Up, and Iron Defense, along with supportive setup with priority coaching and Howl. The real cool tools come with moves like Copycat. You can protect and scout a strong move from the other side of the field and then immediately copy it the next turn, which, come to think of it, would be great in singles too for swapping in to copy hazards and support moves. This also could work well using moves from a slower ally, so you can calculate your copycat. Copycatting moves like Gigaton Hammer or Make It Rain would be really cool. What do you think, Chuck E. Cheese?
Poggers!
You also would provide excellent support with healing moves like Heal Pulse and Life Dew, along with being a potential weather setter with access to Rain Dance and Sunny Day. This would be a sweet option for Lucario in doubles, and it doesn't really even need to worry about dark types immune to it, as you're mostly targeting your own side, or can just smack them with a fighting move. Those are mons I think could, and maybe should keep their abilities when evolving. Do you think this would be good buffs competitively? Did I miss any mons that should inherit an ability from a pre-evolution? Let me know, buds. Special shout out to my Patreon and YouTube members, including Goldbud, Mr. Frank Beans, and Bucket Boys. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a like, and you can also check out this video I chose specifically for you. Thanks for watching, buds, and I'll see you soon.